We're looking at Seagrass Meadows.
Oh, beautiful. Okay, let's go.
Let's go.
All right, here we are where we have seagrass. So you can see the meadow out there, even though you can't actually see the grass at the moment, because obviously it's high tide. One thing that's really important in marine studies is that you have to check the tides before you go to destinations to do things, because it impacts on what you can do, and also it can be dangerous depending on what happens. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. Seagrass is another coastal marine habitat. So actually where we are now, you see again like the mangrove habitat alongside the seagrass meadow. It's hard to see now because it's high tide, but they are usually associated with each other as well. So seagrass, like I said before, mangrove has a limitation, latitudinal limitation, whereas seagrass can be found globally. So they are not really restricted to temperature, to high temperatures only. So if you want to conduct a conservation project or any kind of survey on the seagrass meadow, so what would you need now for a high tide? You would need snorkeling gear. So you can still assess under the high tide, but you need snorkeling gear, or if it's too deep, like we've seen in Cook Island, in other places, you would have a scuba diver.
Yes,
so you
when I was scuba diving, I saw the seagrass.
Yeah.
It was amazing to see grass on the bottom of the ocean.
So for these ones, like it's easier for us, and it's also safer to come on the low tide. So we would have to plan our survey based on the tide. So it would come today, for example, it would come later today to conduct a survey here, because it would be easier to access.
So obviously seagrass, like rocky shores, like mangroves, are very important to conservation and restoration.
Seagrass is the main food source for dugongs, for endangered species like dugongs, and some marine turtles that are herbivorous. So there are two endangered species, marine species, that really rely on seagrass as the main food source for them. Secondly, they also store a lot of carbon, so they're part of the carbon sink for planet, especially with the climate change, global warming. And thirdly, they also help to protect the coast, because they stabilize all this fine, sediment and everything, so it keeps them binded together, so really like stabilizing this area. They also nurseries for diversity of fish. The little fish come here and stay until they reach a certain size, and then they are able to go to other places. So you would find seagrass is made of grass-like leaves, plants. So seagrass is a plant. So it has a flowering plant, it has flowers, so it's got roots. That's why they bind the sediment together. So these plants need light really to survive, so they need light to conduct photosynthesis, like mangrove trees. So they have the leaves, right, these green colors, because they have a pigment called chlorophyll. So you will find seagrass in shallow waters. So you wouldn't find seagrass in too deep where light can't reach. So it's important to have clear water. So if you have seagrass meadows in the waterways, it's a good indication of water quality. So it means the water doesn't have too much sediment, too much suspended sediment or particulate matter, because they need sunlight to survive. So that's why it's so important to conduct surveys on these habitats, also to have an estimate or an indicator of the quality of the water in these waterways. For example, here we are in the Talibudra Creek. We find this, it's a small, where we can see now, but there's more seagrass meadows underwater as well. So if you have them, it means that the quality of the water is good. You see this one, it's like you call mud.
Yeah, mud.
Yeah, but I call silt. This is silt.
Is that good for my body? You know, people have mud baths.
We call it silt because it's very fine grain size, and it has lots of organic material associated to them. It's really nice and soft. You feel it.
It's beautiful.
But we need to be careful not to resuspend everything when we are conducting our survey. Otherwise, you really can. You can't really see much. You see here, like we just got a little bit up, and you see like how
So you have to like
turbid,
tread very
turbid
carefully.
the water gets, yeah.
Yeah.
But you see it, it's pretty when you see the leaves underneath, like under the water, the seagrass, all the grass-like leaves, you see some little bubbles coming up out of the leaves. It means that it's producing oxygen. That's the product of photosynthesis, right? Oxygen. You would see like little tiny bubbles attached to the leaves and then coming up the water column, popping up the surface and coming to the surface. So this is happening in seconds, like all the time, like during the daylight. Don't step on my feet.
I think that advice I would give, maybe don't get gumboots.
No.
Maybe go, what are they called?
Dive boots.
Dive boots. That's the go. We need to go and buy some dive
booties. Yeah. I love this ecosystem.
Oh, there's even a little boat.
That's why. You're like farting all the time.
Oh,
did you bring any fish in?
God help me.
Did you catch a fish in there?
No. No.
You're brave. Brave girl.
Okay. Let's go.
This is plastic. Rubbish.
Yeah, let's take that with us.
So we gotta have a bag every time you go conduct our survey. So we always bring a bag with us.
Okay, so if there's rubbish, we can clean it up.
Yeah.
Yep.
This
And
is part
maybe
of
with more of
conservation.
this education, people will stop doing it.
Yeah.